Let me say again, good morning, Exeter. We're going to finish early. It's really exciting to be here today, and thank you for such a warm welcome. It's just really exciting to feel the energy in the room, the excitement, the anticipation. It's a wonderful thing to feel the rich history of this institution and to recognize people behind me who have contributed so greatly to that history. And it's exciting to welcome new members to the community. I'm going to address my remarks this morning to the students. Before I do that, I have a couple of announcements to make. First, right after this assembly, please go to the academic quad where dining services will have Exeter bars waiting for you. Second, you'll find that we have a t-shirt for each and every one of you. I'm trying to rack up as many points as I can here. And your t-shirt will show your class year. I have some with me. Do you want to see them? Are you willing to make a little noise by class? All right. All right. Let's start with the seniors. This is your year. Make the most of it. Uppers, I'm pretty sure you can make more noise than that. The class of 2021, you'll be my 50th senior year, and I hope you realize you'll also, when you graduate, be part of the celebration of our 50th year of coeducation. Class of 2021, I'd like to hear some noise. Perhaps you're all new. I hope you're not going to wait 3 years to make your mark felt. Class of 2022. We're still going to finish early. On September 17, 1968, almost exactly 50 years ago to this day, I sat in this room as a new lower. Maybe we won't finish early. I consider myself a typical Exonian. I cared about my work, I wanted to do well, and I was thrilled to be here. Certainly I worked very hard and I learned a great deal. I also made lifelong friends, I had a lot of fun, and I grew in confidence each year. Specific highlights for me included studying history, a course called Math 2 Special, playing varsity sports, being a proctor, and most importantly, knowing that my teachers, some of whom are sitting behind me today, cared about me as a student. And coming from a modest background, I was also grateful to have a couple pay jobs on campus to earn some spending money. Attending Exeter was a transformative experience for me. But sitting in this room as a new lower almost 50 years ago, I had very little understanding of what lay ahead. About all I can remember from that day, and I don't remember anything the speaker said, but about all I remember from that day is that the seniors looked very old and the returning lowers looked relaxed and confident, and I felt neither. Yes, I was happy to be here, and I certainly felt the excitement of the day, but inside I had my doubts. Would I be able to do the work? Would I make friends? Did I really belong here? So to those students who today might have some of the same feelings, I say, rest assured, you can do the work. You will make lifelong friends, and absolutely, you belong here. Sitting at opening assembly in 1968, feeling somewhat overwhelmed by the surroundings and the imposing pictures on the walls, I also wasn't thinking very much about the outside world. But in fact, 1968 was a very difficult year in the history of the United States. Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated on April 4. Just 2 months later, a presidential candidate, Robert Kennedy, was assassinated. The country was mired in a controversial war in Southeast Asia, and young men were subject to compulsory military service. Many Exonians served in Vietnam, and some died there. In November, Richard Nixon was elected president, and later in his second term, resigned in disgrace. The Environmental Protection Agency wouldn't even be created for another 2 years, but public awareness of the serious consequences of environmental pollution was rapidly growing. My classmates and I were well aware of the national news as we went about our business here. We were very troubled by much of what we saw in the news, but at times we were also inspired, for example, by Dr. King's courageous leadership and the powerful words that he spoke. Some students took action, such as attending the first Earth Day in Washington, D.C. in April 1970. We were certainly focused on our schoolwork and our various activities outside of class, but national and world events played heavily in our conversations and had an impact on our experience here. What about today? What about you? What troubles or inspires you in the news that you see every day? What actions might you take? Certainly the world has changed for the better in significant ways over the last 50 years. Our society is more open and inclusive than it was 50 years ago, as is our school. A technological revolution has changed the way we work, live, learn, communicate, get our news, treat diseases, and just about everything that we do. But war, ethnic violence, poverty, hunger, and disease persist around the world. Racial and social injustice persist, as do racial and class disparities in education, employment, income, housing, and health outcomes. Notwithstanding progress on a range of environmental issues, climate change poses an existential threat to our planet as we know it. That is a lot for you to contemplate as you go about your business here and navigate your transitions between your childhood and your adult lives. Where does Exeter fit into this picture? How does your time here fit into this picture? We start with the mission of our school, as stated in the deed of gift signed by John and Elizabeth Phillips in 1781, whereby they gave the bulk of their estate to create our school. The deed of gift states as follows: but above all, it is expected that the attention of instructors to the disposition of the minds and morals of the youth under their charge will exceed every other care, well considering that though goodness without knowledge is weak and feeble, yet knowledge without goodness is dangerous, and that both united form the noblest character and lay the surest foundation of usefulness to mankind. The mission of Phillips Exeter Academy is to imbue you with goodness and knowledge, not for selfish reasons, but to lay the surest foundation of usefulness to humankind. The deed of gift also states, youth is the important period, on the improvement or neglect of which the most weighty consequences to individuals and themselves, youth is the important period on the improvement or neglect of which depend the most weighty consequences to individuals themselves and the community. Youth is the most important period. Every year, Exonians return to campus and tell us that the education they received here made the greatest difference in their lives. This was the bend in the road, you might say, that set the course for their later accomplishments. Your time here is important. We want all of you to get the most from your experiences at Exeter. With that objective in mind, I would like this morning to give you 3 pieces of advice. First, believe in yourselves. Believe in your abilities. Believe that your presence here matters. Believe that every one of you is an important member of this community. And believe that you are preparing to make a difference, a positive difference in the world. Every year in October at the John Phillips Awards Assembly, we recognize a graduate of Exeter for distinguished service to community, country, or humanity. It is a moving occasion, and no accident that our highest honor is given for service to humanity. But consider this. Every year, we confer the Academy's highest award on an Exonian who once sat in this room as a new student with no greater confidence or certainty about the future than you have today. We do this in part so you will understand from these examples of good works that you too have the power to make a positive difference in the world. The deed of gift fundamentally is a statement of belief that endowed with goodness and knowledge in equal measure, you will be able to make a positive difference in the world, where you work, where you live, or on whatever scale you may choose. That is what John and Elizabeth Phillips meant in the deed of gift when they referred to the great end and real business of living. To give another less lofty example, I enjoy watching English Premier League soccer. I enjoy the run of the play, but I also enjoy the commentary. When a player strikes the ball well on goal, the announcer often will say the player struck the ball with belief. Life is not always easy, and accomplishing your goals might not always be easy. But an important first step toward accomplishing your goals, here and later in life, is belief. Your teachers, advisors, coaches, and everyone else who is here to support you all believe in you. As we believe in you, so you should believe in yourselves. Believe that, like generations of Exonians before you, you are laying the surest foundation for your own useful lives. My second piece of advice: focus on learning and growth rather than worrying too much about a narrow definition of success. If you focus on learning and growth, success is likely to follow, typically in greater measure than you might achieve if you focus on success alone. I invite you to discuss among yourselves why that might be the case. Whether you are here for 1 year or 4 years, or something in between, you are all here for the same reason: to learn and grow. Your greatest growth might occur in the areas where you have the greatest room to grow. Your relative weaknesses or your lack of experience in some areas are not limitations that you should work around, hide, or avoid. Think of your weaknesses and inexperience as opportunities to learn and grow, as areas where you might learn and grow the most. Every year, Exonians graduate with passions they discovered here, and with strengths that prior to coming to Exeter, they never imagined they could have. I hope you will feel challenged along the way, find the work difficult at times, and come to understand your own capacity to rise to the challenge, sometimes with the support we provide, and sometimes on your own. To maximize your learning and growth, embrace opportunities that exist outside the classroom. Join clubs or activities that are fun, and some that seek to make our school or community a better place. Do not overdo it, but do get involved. The great end and real business of living starts here, by how you engage in this community. At Exeter, we endeavor to create a diverse, equitable, and inclusive community where all members of the community have a sense of belonging and an equal opportunity to thrive. Make the most of your opportunities to learn from your classmates. Take responsibility for your own education in this regard. Listening is the critical skill upon which your personal growth will depend. At Exeter, we don't listen so we can decide what labels to apply to other persons. We listen to understand and learn from others' experiences and different points of view. Research studies tell us that when we are in a conversation about an important subject, such as race or any other important subject, we tend to move closer physically if the conversation is presented as a learning opportunity, and we tend to move further apart physically if we think we are going to be judged. We must be willing to talk about difficult subjects, move closer together when we do, learn from each other, and resist the temptation to judge. In a thriving educational community, as in any thriving democracy, we should expect to find a diversity of viewpoints on almost every subject worth talking about. Do not shy away from opportunities to learn and grow simply because they might be uncomfortable. Learning can be uncomfortable. Having your ideas and beliefs challenged can be uncomfortable. But if we move closer together, if we understand our conversations as opportunities to learn, if we're willing to be wrong sometimes, and if we're willing to see others as also learning and not judge them for their mistakes, then there is no limit to what we can learn from each other. That is the essence of a Harkness education. My third piece of advice: respect our school, respect your classmates, and respect everyone else in our school community. Respect starts with understanding the privilege we all enjoy simply by being here. If we take things for granted or act with a sense of entitlement, we disrespect the privilege we enjoy by being here, and we disrespect the sacrifices of others that have made our time here possible. We are not special simply because we are here, but because we are here, we have the opportunity to accomplish special things together. We respect our school when we follow the rules. You will respect your classmates in any number of ways, but one essential way to respect your classmates is to understand and abide by our policy on affirmative consent. If I read again, we respect our school when we follow rules, will you do that now? Okay. That's one way we respect our school. One way to respect our community as a whole is to be respectful of our speakers and performers at assemblies. We show our respect by arriving on time and giving speakers and performers our full attention. These are all things that you can easily do, that are entirely within your control. These are all ways that you can act as student leaders on a daily basis. Most importantly, we must treat everyone in this community with respect. The responsibility falls on all of us to treat every person we encounter during the course of our day with dignity and respect. Every day, all the time. "50 years ago, almost to the day, I sat in this room as a new lower. What stands out most for me about my student experience? Most of all, I would say I valued my time here. If you value your time here, you will have a great experience. How you will learn and grow, what paths you will take, remains for you to discover. We are delighted that you are here. We can't wait to get started. We are eager to see what wonderful things you will do and accomplish this year." I'm going to conclude my remarks with another announcement. After the announcement, I will dismiss you by class. By tradition, I will start with the senior class. Don't forget to collect your Exeter bars and t-shirts in the quad. You have heard me refer this morning to John and Elizabeth Phillips. In the past, we have considered John Phillips to be the founder of our school. Phillips Hall is named after him. But Elizabeth Phillips also signed the Act of Incorporation that created the Academy in April 1781. The following month, she signed the deed of gift and thereby relinquished her 1/3 interest in her husband's estate to support the founding of the school. On that basis, Elizabeth Phillips might rightly be considered co-founder of Phillips Exeter Academy. Yet, she is not recognized anywhere on our campus. The lead donors of the Academy Center have decided they would like us to change that. It is time to honor someone whose contributions to the founding of this school have gone unrecognized for 238 years. When you leave this assembly hall and go into the academic quad, you will see that the Academy Center is now named the Elizabeth Phillips Academy Center. Senior class.